So I think we have a little time for questions and answers.
Where have you had an opportunity to discuss this with the people that you think need it, or that you know need it?
I'm talking all the time. My family will tell you I talk in my sleep. I'm writing pieces, I'm on Facebook, I speak to support groups, I push the book, I do public speaking. Wherever anyone will listen, I speak. In fact, at its most intimate level. And I was joking about this with Zena earlier, trying to figure out how people get my telephone number and where they find me. But most often, I'll always get emails from guys or telephone calls. And it starts out, I haven't seen my child in X amount of years. She's 15 years old. I'm having issues with child support. Can you help? That's what it ends with. Can you help? And I know exactly what that means. It means that they need to first take all of this kind of hidden messages that they put in the beginning of that email, and they need to get it all out. So I will often find myself on the phone speaking to someone for listening to someone for hours as they just let it out. They just let it out. They let it out. They let it out. And I'm so exhausted afterwards, it's just like, look, I'll call you back with what I think where you should go, because now I'm exhausted. And now, and Tracy will tell you, sometimes I come into the garage and I have the phone on and it's on speaker and it's on mute and I'm just listening. And then I have to go off into my own little cave and I have to like take all of this stuff that this person has put in my head and I have to settle it in my head because I got to interact with my own family. He's got me mad at his baby's mama, right? So now I got to make sure that madness ain't making me mad at my family. So I have to resolve that stuff. But I speak, you open up the opportunity, churches, you give me the audience or give me the individual. You know, I will continue to put this message out there because if I can change one life, I can change two.
You have a daughter, so your relationship with your daughter, the way you are presenting it is really good. So I'm just saying that I'm not sure in your book whether you have discussed about daughters, because fathers, they do make a big difference in daughters' lives too, as much as they do in sons' life.
Yeah, we well, I only until KJ came along, I only had daughters. And you're absolutely right. We leave a critical impact on our daughters. You know, for most of our daughters who have broken relationships with their fathers, for many of them, the first man who ever was supposed to love them and commit to them left them. Their first love left them. And for years, they try to compensate for that. Years, they try to figure out how to model. What should my love look like? Because the person responsible for that and the first one in my life who was supposed to model that for me left. So they continue. I talk to women all the time after they've read the book, few of them, who said they continue to search for their father in their men today. All of the mistakes that they've made about the men that they've chosen were made because they made mistakes trying to emulate a figure that they had no idea what it looked like. But if they would have just had a positive male role model in their lives, they probably would have been able to compensate for that. So the women that I'm talking about not only did not have fathers in their lives, but they also did not have positive male role models in their lives. And many of the men who were in their lives were predators because they recognized what women were looking for. They could recognize when a woman is looking to replace some kind of love in their lives that they haven't figured out what it looks for, what it looks like. And that's why so many of our young girls are getting caught up, because they don't understand what love looks like. I speak to my girls about it all the time. They're clear about what it looks like. I'm what it looks like. And I will treat you like the queen you are, so that whenever an imposter presents himself to you, he will be clear to you. My daddy sends me flowers. What else you got? Right? My daddy takes me to movies. What else you got? My daddy pulls out the chair. He says, I love you. What else you got? Right? That's that daughter message. But I talk a lot, you will hear me talk a lot about the males, because the criticalness of what is happening today is impacting males in a way that's spilling over into everything, even girls. And many of them, young boys who do not have fathers in their lives, I often say pain not transformed is transmitted. And boys have a way of transmitting pain in a way that reflects itself in very harmful ways externally. I heard one time Cornel West said one time in an interview that he believed that the epidemic of black boys killing black boys had a lot to do with their self-hatred of themselves, not being able to identify their real manhood through a model father or positive male role model. So that kind of twisting and linking back in and linking back out for boys is critical. Not to say that that doesn't happen with girls too, but for boys it's very profound. You can see it all over the place. So yes, daughters are important, particularly to me. I got 3 of them.
Do the children who you talk to realize the factor that may cause a parent not to live up to the responsibility of a parent that society has brought about? Mm-hmm. For example, when my 2 sons finished college, they couldn't get a job in this area. They had to leave this area to get jobs. So, do the children realize the underlying factors that cause a man to not perform to the duties he should?
Mm-hmm. I don't think that they do. My own personal thought is that it's just too much of a complex thing for them to understand. I think that you can give them messages that will allow them to be empathetic to either pain or confusion or those other things. My 10-year-old, and I was just telling someone this the other day, when she was younger, much younger than she is now, one day to me on a Sunday afternoon, came into the living room and said, "Daddy, are we going to do anything today?" And I kind of looked at her and was like, "No." I was like, "What do you mean? Are we going to do anything exciting today?" And it clicked to me at that moment that she thought that I was like the happy daddy, that every time that we were together, that if we weren't doing happy things, that I wasn't fulfilling my duty as a father. And I said to her that day, I said, "You know what?" I said, "Sometimes in life and in our relationship as daddy and daughter, sometimes it's enough for daddy just to know that you're safely in your room playing with your toys. And sometimes it's enough for you just to know that while you're safely in your room playing with your toys, that daddy is safely and happily sitting on the couch watching a football game." Right? Simple as that. Sunday for us, from this day forth, is lazy day. And we do absolutely nothing. And she got it, hook, line, and sinker. And I didn't have to do no more, but just kind of try to relate to her what was happening at this moment till today, when we are struggling sometimes, as opposed to like many kids who will say, "Can I have this? Can I have that? Can I do this?" She will pose it more in a question. Is it okay that we get this? Because what she's drilling for, is it okay and are we capable of doing what I'm getting ready to ask you? Because I know this is out of the realm of need. This is in the realm of want. Can we go see the Grand Canyon this year? I don't know, honey. We'll see. We'll see what money looks like. So she's clear that there's some extenuating circumstances that will allow us to do some of the things that she wants to do or disallow us to do it. And I think that we just have to give our kids very simplistic lessons so that they kind of understand the atmosphere without really knowing the grimy details of our lives.